Coming up on this Welcome to Spring edition of Inside Bellingham, we get a real behind-the-scenes tour of the Mount Baker Theater, including a chance to see where the ghosts live. And if you have a lot of bushes, branches, or other green material to get rid of, we'll show you where to take it. And a visit with the new City Council member, Barry Buchanan. And how about some live music? The Art of Jazz series provides live performances by world-class musicians. We'll tell you where and when. All this and a spring full of information more, right here on Inside Bellingham. Hi, and welcome to Inside Bellingham. I'm Laura Greenfield, stepping in for Doug Waldo. And this is the American Museum of Radio and Electricity. If you've not been here, it's a great place to both learn and be entertained. Inside, you'll find an electrifying collection of unique artifacts, radios, phones, phonographs, many still working. It's a fascinating place for the whole family. Lots to see, touch, listen to, and even play with. There are special demonstrations on Science Saturdays. The museum is open from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Wednesdays through Saturdays. Once a month, the last Sunday of every month, this museum plays host to the Jazz Project's Art of Jazz series, an incredible string of performances by world-class jazz musicians. Judge Sherwood is the director of the Jazz Project, and he also gets to play drums once in a while, like he did with Crossing Borders, a jazz group we met while they were setting up here at the museum just a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
I'll be here.
Actually, it's better sightline than with the grand piano, really. So.
Okay, so you want to bend the drums down that side,
drums here,
or drums here?
That's the other
Drums
problem.
in the corner here.
I started the Jazz Project primarily because I wanted to play with really great players, and there are a lot of them around the Northwest and up and down the West Coast into Canada.
Three times, Judge.
The Art of Jazz series at the Radio Museum is very definitely, geared to the whole community. And there's no cover charge for kids. So if you want to see great music and you want to expose your children to great music, this is an opportunity for parents to become members, to expose their kids to, top flight players every month.
Smile though your heart is aching. Smile even though it's breaking. When there are clouds in the sky, you'll get by if you smile through your...
That sort of intimacy that you get with jazz doesn't translate as well when you put it in a venue that seats 1,500 like the Mount Baker Theater. It can still be a good concert, but there's something that just takes that edge away from from the venue that you expect. And the venue you expect is that the drummer's here and the first person listening is here, that you're right up there with the music. And so, the venues that I choose are typically, under 300, so that you're close to the performers. They have great acoustics, and you get that sense of intimacy with the music and with the performers. Jazz musicians come into it wanting a place to express themselves, experiment with music, and the Jazz Project provides that conduit for people to do that. When I field inquiries from musicians, you know, I'm less interested in what their press kit says, more interested in how they sound. And, you know, in all the hype that goes into the music business and music production, I think that's kind of a rarity that, you know, in the same season you could see, you know, a real burnin' Latin jazz group and then a very experimental, you know, free, improvised music all in the same series. Performance, I think, is the outlet for all jazz players. And the more opportunities you give them to do what they do, to perform what they want to work on, I think the healthier the jazz community is going to be.
You can catch the Art of Jazz performances here at the American Museum of Radio and Electricity on the last Sunday of every month through November. Performances start at 4 p.m. If you'd like to get tickets in advance, you can phone 650-1066 or visit their website at www.jazzproject.org. Spring is in the air, in the trees, and on the ground. And if you're wondering what to do with all that excess greenery or the leftover blowdown from winter, the solution is Clean Green, and they want your yard waste.
Well, we're here at the Clean Green facility, here located at the northwest corner of Lakeway and Woburn Street. The city and county have put a concerted effort into trying to continue to endorse good recycling programs. So we've been doing this for about 10 years, started out as a pilot program with our Parks Department, and has kind of grown into what it is today, which is a fairly extensive program. Last year, for example, we took over 6,000 tons of yard waste and hauled it to a composting facility where it was processed. It's a very popular program. We're pretty excited about it. We're glad to continue it. We're going to be opening here on the first Saturday of March, and we'll be open till the last Sunday in November. We're open Saturday and Sunday only on the weekends. We open up at 8:30 and we close at 4, both Saturday and Sunday. It's $2 a load is what we charge. Basically, we take a variety of residential yard waste. We don't take any commercial waste whatsoever. There's a pretty extensive list, and that can be provided to anyone who wants to call Public Works Operations or go to the city's website. Under our recycling page on the city's website, they can get a list of exactly what's acceptable and what's not. We welcome all residential customers within Whatcom County. We just try to ask people to be courteous, especially as they're approaching or entering the site or when they're on site. Just use some common sense and be careful when you're backing up to offload your material. Just show good driver courtesy to one another. We have very few problems. People are able to offload very easily and readily. It is an interesting gathering place, and I suppose there is a social aspect to it during those morning hours as people are patiently lined up for us to open up for them on Saturday and Sundays. So it's great. I like to see the community participation.
So I come here to dump the grass and clippings, and we also pick up our neighbors' stuff, so we kind of help each other, you know.
We see on average 36 to 38,000 people a year come through here. So there's a lot of people and a lot of repeat customers. It's great. I like to see the community participation.
The Clean Green Transfer Station on Woburn near Lakeway is open from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Saturdays and Sundays only from March through November. When Bellingham Mayor Dan Pike was sworn into office last November, he outlined an ambitious set of goals that he called his 100-day plan. These goals included the protection of Lake Whatcom, the promotion of Green Bellingham, the creation of a healthy waterfront, supporting the city's neighborhoods, and streamlining the permitting process. The first week of March was the end of Mayor Pike's first 100 days in office, and now he's celebrating success. Here's more from his presentation.
At its core, the 100-day plan is an act of good faith by the Pike administration to the community. The 100-day plan functions to drive real, concrete, and meaningful steps towards addressing the issues this community cares so deeply about. I'm also using this opportunity to promote transparent government that will be central in my administration. Readily accessible information is a key to transparency. Within the 100-day plan report, I not only draw attention to new initiatives and action steps that will be rolled out this year, but also inform the community about ongoing city efforts that speak directly to the plan objectives. The simple truth is that as a community, we have a lot of important work to do. But it is equally true that we have much good work both underway and forthcoming. We should celebrate what is healthy and successful about the City Hall Community Partnership, even as we work to make it better. Not every action step of the 100-day plan was completed. However, even in those instances where my reach exceeded my grasp, we have made solid and meaningful movement toward the intended outcomes. The whole thing can be summarized primarily with 3 simple words. We did it. I was not mayor when I put together the 100-day plan in that short time last November between the election and when I took office. Today I stand at the head of a complex organization that is your city government. The first 100 days have passed, and we have hundreds more days yet to come. We may be on the threshold of some national economic troubles, and our own city budget is without doubt very tight. Yet there are many more objectives and priorities that my administration is deeply committed to in areas like social services, economic development, and public safety. I can tell you this without a doubt. Throughout the next 4 years, this administration will continue to strive for outstanding public service and for operational excellence. And as your mayor, I am dedicated to the mindful stewardship of the taxpayer dollars. Above all, I'm committed to continuing my conversations with you. When a proactive, energized city administration is engaged in the service of a proactive, energized community, a powerful synergy is created. The success of this plan, to my mind, bodes very well for the future of our community. The success of this plan only affirms my abiding conviction that we are indeed one Bellingham, and that we can move deliberately together into our collective good future. Thank you.
Mayor Pike's 100-day plan presentation will air in its entirety on BTV10 and will be posted on the city's website at www.cob.org. The Mount Baker Theater is getting ready for Phase 2 of its dramatic remodel program that will make it an even better community entertainment venue. The main stage will be closed through December, but you can still catch performances in the more intimate studio theater here in the same building. There is a lot of history here in the Mount Baker Theater, a lot of which will have to be replaced, like the vintage heating and air cooling system. But other elements, like the mighty Wurlitzer organ, will stay the same for generations to come. We asked Brad Burdick, the theater's manager, to give us a behind-the-scenes tour of this wonderful community asset.
Here at the top of the stairs of the lobby, we're going to be doing a lot of interesting things. You'll be noticing a lot of indirect light that we don't have right now. First of all, the fixtures behind us are going to be repaired and restored to their original condition with new, more energy-efficient lighting inside. And in front of me in the mezzanine, it will also receive a lot of indirect lighting so that you'll be able to take advantage of all of the interesting stencils on the ceiling, be able to look at the faux woodwork that was created here back in 1927, along with everything else when this theater was built. Well, here in the main theater, you'll notice a lot of changes after the construction is completed. For one thing, you'll notice on the side walls there will be some decorative curtains. That'll actually be an acoustical improvement that should enhance all of the shows that we do in the theater now. You'll also notice the arches up above us and in the center dome will all be changed. The lighting capacity will be significantly improved and will still allow us to do a lot of things we haven't been able to do for a long time here at the theater. You know, the interesting thing about the theater is that when it was designed in 1927, Robert Reamer actually put 4 different circuits of lights so that we could have a blending and get almost an infinite number of colors originally. It was unfortunate because with all the different colors of light, we couldn't actually make the theater bright enough for you to read your programs. So with the new LED lighting, we'll be able to get all the color back that was originally designed by the architect and still be able to save a significant amount of energy. Well, here at the back of the balcony, there's going to be other improvements as well. First of all, the back wall is going to have a lot of new acoustical treatment put across the entire surface. It'll be there to improve the acoustics of the room, to help absorb some of the sound that gets caught back here in the back of the balcony. But I want to show you something that's behind this door. Normally it's closed, but it contains a lot of the history of the theater. It has the projection booth, whenever this was primarily a film palace, and it also has the door into the tower area. We're at the base of the tower now, and even though this is at a place that the public can't get to for obvious reasons, wanted to let you know that this is how you get all the way to the very top of the tower. You can see all over Bellingham from the top. But I'm going to take you up to the roof now. Now what I'm doing is walking out on the catwalk that's directly above the seats in the back of the theater. As you can see, everything here is suspended by all these hundreds and hundreds of wires. And if you look further back, you can see the dome. Now, we're looking at the back side of what you see when you're sitting in the theater. But what you see when you come into the theater is very ornate, but it's all a suspended ceiling from this area right here. All right, I'm coming into the projection room now. You can see we've got a lot of equipment. On my right here is the platter that the film gets laid on. It runs through all the pulleys on the wall, and it goes into these big projectors. And this box that you see here on the side is part of the sound equipment that ties into the projectors and helps project the sound out into the theater. One of the most interesting things about this projection booth is actually right in front of me here. There's a toilet in this booth. And the reason that's here is because back in the early 20s, when film was very explosive, it was actually illegal for projectionists to leave, so thus we have the toilet in the projection booth. All right, now I'm entering the part of the theater that's underneath the projection booth. This is interesting because it contains a lot of our old equipment that we're going to try to salvage and maybe put some of it in museums. But it also is reportedly where the ghosts live. Most theaters have ghosts. Ours, we're no different. We have several stories about ghosts, and reportedly a lot of the projectionists have had experiences where they've heard their names called even though they're the only people in the theater, and it's come from this area. All right, this area is what we affectionately call the Frankenstein Room for obvious reasons. This is the junction area for all of the power coming into the theater right now. And after phase 2 is complete, this will all go away. We're going to be putting the new power in below the stage behind the theater. This is the boiler room. As you can tell, it's right underneath the stage. Most people don't come here. But originally, the theater had 2 huge boilers. They were 6 feet around by about 18 feet long. They sat right here. And when they were first put in, they were fired by coal. So we had people living here shoveling coal. There's even a shower on the back side of the boiler room that was there to accommodate their needs. The new system's a hydronic system that will be much different and much more energy efficient. I'm now standing in the light room. This is where we store all of our lighting inventory until we need to use it on one of our stage productions. It wasn't always a light room because we used this room as our green room in addition to some of the other spaces in the theater. But this table right here is where, when we had Rent come in, the big Broadway musical, we fed 80 people 3 meals that day off of this one small space. There just wasn't much space at all. It was one of the big things that happened when we did phase 1. We were able to expand the dressing rooms and accommodate a lot more of the productions that we've been booking here lately. I'm now standing in the middle of Chorus Dressing Room B. This is one of the new facilities that was built as part of phase 1 of the theater renovations. You can tell that we've got a lot better lighting backstage for the artists so they can put their makeup on. It's wonderful for all the Broadway shows that we have, and it's also outstanding for some of the local community dance groups that come in here with 100 to 150 students. they all get to spread out and have enough space to put their costumes on and look great in the makeup mirrors. Well, thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this tour of the Mount Baker Theater. Maybe sometime in the not too distant future, we'll be able to see you at one of our shows.
Remember, performances will continue even while work is underway on the main stage. To find out more about performances and tickets, call the theater at 734-6080 or visit their website at www.mountbakertheater.com. The Bellingham City Council has 3 new members this year. We've been introducing you to 1 new member in each of the last shows. Recently, the city's communications manager, Janice Keller, met up with Barry Buchanan to learn more about Barry and his new job representing the community as a city council member.
Well, the Lake Whatcom watershed is my #1 priority. We have to turn the quality of the lake around and do not only do we need to protect it, we need to restore it. So that's very high on my list. Along with that is growth management. We have very challenging times here in Bellingham and Whatcom County on how we deal with growth. We've made some good decisions early on in how we've limited the urban growth area and to not sprawl into the county. And I look forward to working on things that make Bellingham even a greater place as we grow. As far as the lake goes, we have to find out better ways to fund land acquisition. We have to find better technology that's out there for stormwater processing. So those are 2 things I want to look at in terms of what we do in Lake Whatcom. And as far as growth goes, I think we're on the right track in designing the urban village concept. I think we need to keep pursuing that. We need to be mindful of how we do things in the existing neighborhoods. It's important that we protect character as we go along. And it's a big challenge, but I think we can do it. The program that I worked on as chair of the Letter Streets was where we had talked about preservation of some single-family areas in the Letter Streets, and at the same time we worked on the Old Town Urban Village Plan with planning and have participated in that activity in Old Town since 2001. It's been a long, long process. But what it did is it showed that a neighborhood can find ways to increase density as the Old Town Plan does. But it also shows that the neighborhood then can prioritize the areas they want to protect and the character that they want to protect.
What's your vision for the waterfront?
My vision for the waterfront is one that it's a mixed use. It has good access. And as we're developing an Old Town, it's a great link, downtown, Old Town, and the waterfront, and my own neighborhood, the Letter Streets. It's a wonderful opportunity for recreation, for people to have residences there on the waterfront, and for thriving businesses to come in, some marine-related industries. The opportunities are boundless. We just have to be very careful on how we approach things. We have to be deliberate in how we do things. And I think the nature of Bellingham is that the citizen involvement in things is so huge. They're very informed voters, very informed participants in projects that the city does. So I'm very, very optimistic that that can spill over into how we do things because the public is excited about this project as well.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Barry.
You can find out more about the Bellingham City Council at www.cob.org. Speaking of the City Council, showing you the work of the Bellingham City Council is a key service provided by BTV10. We're pleased to announce that City Council committee meetings are now also airing on BTV10. These committee meetings are typically held on Monday afternoons and host rich discussions among council members, the mayor, city staff, and others, and set the stage for council decisions voted on during regular council meetings. Monday afternoon committee meetings and the Monday evening regular meetings that follow them are now airing live on BTV10. As always, these meetings will repeat several times each week. BTV10's broadcast schedule is posted on the city website at www.cob.org. Spring will happen. Things are popping up all over. It's a magic time of year. So if you have springtime feedback or ideas, we'd like to hear from you. You can reach us through our website or directly via email. Spring is bouncing out everywhere. You can watch it all happen in our splendid parks or along our fine network of trails. Get out and enjoy our blooming community. Thanks for watching. I'm Laura Greenfield.